Hi, welcome to James Miller Lifeology, where you will learn to simplify and transform your life. My name is James Miller. I'm a licensed professional counselor and a composer. In today's episode, I wanted to speak with you about the concept of rejection. Rejection is a very difficult emotion that we've all experienced, but it's one that we don't realize, but we actually allow people to reject us. And the way this works is this. All the insecurities that I may have in my life, all the embarrassing moments that I may have had, all the self-doubt I may have, all of the insecurities that just manifest itself in kind of the nooks and crannies of my being, it all comes to the forefront. And so if I have an interaction with someone, they may not even know me that well, but if all of a sudden I'm feeling a level of rejection, what happens is something in that conversation elicited all of these insecurities, and what I do is I then project it onto this other person, and then when I do that, it's almost like they reflect it back to me. So they may have no idea what's going on inside of me, but what we do though is when we reflect it on them, that all of a sudden it solidifies our insecurities, our self-doubt, our self-worth, and so then we feel less than. And so let's see how this plays out. For example, I'm at work and I have this wonderful idea and I share it with my team, with my boss, and I think it's just probably the best thing that could ever happen. But my boss says, well, I appreciate that offer, but we're going to go a different direction. Or let's say I'm on one of these dating sites or I meet someone out and I think there's a good connection, but all of a sudden I don't hear back from that person. Or I'm out with friends and I offer them advice and they don't listen to me and they're rude to me or whatever it might be. So when that happens is all of a sudden on these different experiences, I am now experiencing rejection. But what happens is I then take my levels of insecurity and I reflect it on them, which then bounces back to me that says, this must be true. This person doesn't want to talk to me because I'm ugly. This person doesn't want to talk to me because I'm not attractive. My boss doesn't want to take my advice or my opinions because he thinks I'm not worthy, or I'm not very good at my job. Or my friends, they don't think I'm a very good friend, and so therefore they don't think I have really good advice. So those are thoughts of rejections that we are probably already feeling insecure about ourselves in other areas. So when those situations happen, we then take what our insecurities are, we reflect it on the other person or situation, and it bounces back to us, and then in a very irrational way, it causes us to believe what we feel those other people are believing about us, but it's really ourselves believing that about ourselves. So if we really understand this concept, and it can be a very confusing concept, but it's a very valid and true concept. So when we understand that nobody can reject you unless you reject yourself, then that will actually liberate you. So what I would recommend is when you're feeling your levels of rejection, and sometimes people are really good at feeling it in the moment to recognize, oh, this is rejection I'm feeling, and sometimes it takes some time to reflect to understand that that's the emotion we are experiencing. So whenever you recognize that feeling of rejection, it's so important for you to ask yourself, what is it at the basic level that I feel rejected about? Do I feel insecure? Do I feel unattractive? Do I feel unworthy? And whatever that emotional construct is, it's important to shelf that later and then deal with that. Maybe talk to a therapist about that, talk to your friends about that, write about it. Because once you kind of are aware of that and can work through that, then the next time a situation like that happens, where that emotion is elicited, it will not have that same level of rejection because you're aware of it. So what I want to be the takeaway for today is nobody can reject you unless you reject yourself. And the more awareness you have of these emotions that come up, the less reactive you will be in situations like this. So thank you so much for watching James Miller Lifeology today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.